I came home to find my bedroom door wide open and a stranger's suitcase on my bed. My name is Sadie, and I've lived in this house for 25 years. Same room, same faded purple walls I painted when I was 16, same creaky floorboard by the window that I've stepped over 1,000 times. But today, everything I owned was crammed into cardboard boxes stacked against the far wall like some kind of garage sale reject pile. "Mom," I called out, my voice echoing through the hallway, "what's going on?" The sound of footsteps came from downstairs, followed by my mother's voice, bright and cheerful like she was hosting a dinner party. "Sadie, perfect timing. Come meet your cousin Marley." I dropped my work bag by the door and walked downstairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. In our living room sat a girl about my age with perfectly curled blonde hair and a designer purse that probably cost more than I made in a month. She looked up at me with this sweet, innocent smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Sadie," Mom beamed, wrapping her arm around the stranger's shoulders. "This is Marley, your cousin from your dad's side. She's going through a really tough time right now." Marley placed her hand on her stomach in this theatrical way. "I'm pregnant," she announced, her voice soft and vulnerable. "And the father, well, he's not in the picture anymore. I just need somewhere safe to stay until I figure things out." I stared at them both, waiting for the punchline. "Okay, but why is her stuff in my room?" Mum's smile faltered for just a second. "Well, honey, you're 25 now. Don't you think it's time to grow up? Maybe get your own place?" The words hit me like a slap. "Grow up? Mum, I've been paying half the mortgage for 2 years. I've been buying groceries, covering the electric bill when you were between jobs." "That's different," Mum interrupted, her voice taking on that sharp edge I knew too well. "That's family responsibility. But Marley needs stability right now. She's carrying a baby." Marley nodded, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "I'm so sorry, Sadie. I know this is awkward. If there was anywhere else I could go." "There's the guest room," I said, my voice getting louder. "There's the couch. There's literally anywhere else in this house." Mum crossed her arms. "The guest room is full of storage, and she can't sleep on a couch in her condition. Your room has the best natural light, and it's closest to the bathroom. It just makes sense." I looked around the living room, at the furniture I'd helped pick out, at the walls I'd helped paint when Mum decided she needed a fresh start after her last breakup. At the coffee table, I'd assembled myself because she couldn't figure out the instructions. "Where exactly am I supposed to sleep?" I asked. "Well," Mum said, glancing at Marley, "I thought maybe you could stay with Angela for a while, or find a nice little apartment. You've been talking about wanting more independence." I had never once talked about wanting more independence. I'd talked about wanting to pursue interior design, about maybe taking some classes, about turning my little side projects into something real. But every time I brought it up, Mum would remind me that hobbies don't pay bills, and that she needed me here. Marley stood up slowly, one hand still on her stomach. "I feel terrible about this. Maybe I should look for somewhere else." "Absolutely not," Mum said firmly. "You're family. Sadie understands." They both looked at me expectantly, waiting for me to smile and nod and play the part of the understanding cousin who puts everyone else's needs first, the same part I'd been playing my entire life. "How long?" I asked quietly. "How long what?" Mum replied. "How long is she staying?" Mum and Marley exchanged a look. "Well, until the baby comes at least, maybe longer depending on her situation." I nodded slowly, feeling something cold and hard settle in my chest. "I see." "I knew you'd understand," Mum said, relief flooding her voice. "You've always been so mature about these things." I walked back upstairs to my room, former room, and stared at the boxes. 25 years of my life packed away like I was already gone. My design sketches, my fabric samples, my vision boards for the business I'd been dreaming about building. All of it boxed up and pushed aside for someone I'd never met until today. That night, I sat at my desk and wrote a letter. When I finished, I placed it on my mother's nightstand while she slept. Then I loaded my car with as many boxes as would fit and drove away just as the sun was coming up. In my rearview mirror, I watched the house get smaller and smaller until it disappeared completely. "They'll see," I whispered to myself, tears streaming down my face. "They'll all see." The micro loft I found was basically a glorified closet with a window. 47 square feet in a converted warehouse 2 towns over, sandwiched between a tattoo parlour and a laundromat that never seemed to close. The listing called it cosy and perfect for the minimalist lifestyle. What it really was, cheap enough that I could afford it without crawling back home. "This is it?" Angela asked, setting down the box she'd helped me carry upstairs. We'd reconnected through Facebook after I posted a vague status about new beginnings, and she'd shown up at my door with coffee and moving boxes without me even asking. "It's temporary," I said, surveying the space. A Murphy bed took up one wall, a kitchenette barely big enough for a hot plate occupied another, and the bathroom was so small you had to step into the shower to close the door. "Sadie, this place is smaller than my walk-in closet." "Your walk-in closet doesn't come with independence." Angela sat on the edge of the bed, making the whole thing creak. "Have you talked to your mum since you left?" 17 missed calls and about 30 texts, asking when I'm coming home. I pulled out my phone and showed her the latest message. "Marley is asking about you. She feels terrible. Can we please just talk?" And nothing. I'm done being the family doormat. Angela picked up one of my design portfolios from a box. "You know, I always wondered why you never did anything with these. They're incredible. Mum always said it wasn't practical, that I needed to focus on stable income." "While you were paying her mortgage." "While I was being responsible," I corrected, though the words tasted bitter. Angela flipped through pages of room designs, colour palettes, before and after sketches I'd done of friends' apartments. "Sadie, these aren't just good, they're professional level. Why didn't you ever show me this stuff when we were kids?" I remembered being 12, showing my mum a drawing I'd done of how we could rearrange the living room to make it feel bigger. She'd glanced at it for maybe 2 seconds before saying, "That's nice, honey, but we can't afford new furniture." When I explained that we wouldn't need new furniture, just move what we had, she'd patted my head and said, "Maybe when you're older, you'll understand how the real world works." "I tried," I said simply. Angela closed the portfolio and looked around the tiny space. "What if we documented this?" "Documented what?" "This transformation, you turning this shoebox into something amazing. People love that kind of content online." I laughed, but it came out hollow. "Who's going to care about some random girl fixing up a closet?" "You'd be surprised. There's this whole community of people doing room makeovers on Instagram. Some of them have millions of followers. I don't know anything about social media." "But I do." Angela's eyes lit up with the same enthusiasm she'd had in high school when she convinced me to run for student council. "I work in digital marketing now. I could help you set up accounts, figure out the posting strategy, hashtags, all that stuff." I looked around the depressing little space. The walls were this institutional beige colour that seemed to suck the life out of everything. The lighting was harsh and unflattering. The whole place felt like giving up. "I don't have money for renovations." "So we get creative. Thrift stores, DIY projects, paint from the discount bin. Document the whole process. Show people that you don't need a huge budget to make a space beautiful." I walked to the single window and looked out at the street below. A woman was loading laundry into her car, probably heading to the laundromat downstairs because her building didn't have machines. A guy in paint-splattered clothes was unlocking the tattoo parlour. Normal people living normal lives, making do with what they had. What would I even call it? The account? I don't know. Something catchy? Micro makeover? Small space, big dreams? Angela joined me at the window. We'll figure it out. My phone buzzed with another text from Mom. Please come home. We can work this out. I turned the phone face down on the windowsill. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Angela grinned. Really? Really, but I want to do this right. Professional level, like you said. Deal. When do we start? I looked around the space again, but this time I didn't see a depressing closet. I saw potential. Clean lines, smart storage solutions, a colour palette that would make the space feel twice as big. I saw the kind of transformation that would make people stop scrolling and pay attention. Tomorrow, I said. We start tomorrow. That night, I lay in the Murphy bed listening to the sounds of the city outside my window. For the first time in weeks, I wasn't thinking about my mother or Marley or the room that wasn't mine anymore. I was thinking about what came next. 3 weeks into documenting my micro-loft transformation, my Instagram had exactly 47 followers. Most of them were Angela's friends, and a few random interior design accounts that followed everyone back. The algorithm takes time, Angela said, adjusting the ring light she'd bought for our photo shoots. You just need that one post to break through. I was touching up the accent wall I'd painted in this deep forest green I'd mixed myself from discount paint samples. The whole project had cost me less than $200, but it looked like something from a magazine. Maybe we should try TikTok, I suggested, stepping back to admire the wall. Instagram first, build the foundation, then expand. Angela snapped a few photos. These are gorgeous, by the way. The way the light hits that wall is perfect. My phone buzzed with a DM notification. I almost ignored it. Usually it was just spam or people trying to sell me followers, but something made me check. Hi, I came across your micro-loft transformation and I'm absolutely blown away. I'm wondering if you'd be interested in a collaboration. I have a space that could use your magic. Youssef. I showed Angela the message. Who's Youssef? She grabbed my phone and scrolled through his profile. Her eyes went wide. Sadie, this is Youssef Hamilton, the singer. He has like 3 million followers. Never heard of him. He had that song about heartbreak that was everywhere last year. He's huge on social media. She kept scrolling. Look at his house. It's gorgeous, but so sterile, like a hotel. The photos showed this massive modern house with floor-to-ceiling windows and expensive furniture that looked like no one had ever sat on it. Beautiful, but cold. He wants me to redesign his house. He wants to collaborate. That could mean anything from a single room to the whole place. Angela was practically vibrating with excitement. Sadie, if he posts about your work to his followers. I took the phone back and stared at the message. What if I mess it up? What if you don't? I typed back. Hi, Youssef. Thank you for reaching out. I'd love to hear more about what you have in mind. His response came within minutes. Would you be free for a call tomorrow? I've been living in this house for 2 years, and it still doesn't feel like home. I think you might be able to fix that. The next day, I stood outside Youssef's house trying not to hyperventilate. The place was even more intimidating in person, all glass and steel and perfectly manicured landscaping that probably cost more than I'd made in my entire life. Youssef answered the door himself, which surprised me. He was shorter than I'd expected, with kind eyes and paint-stained fingers. Sadie, I'm so glad you could come. He stepped aside to let me in. I have to warn you, the inside is pretty depressing. He wasn't wrong. The living room was huge and filled with expensive furniture, but it felt like a showroom. No personal touches, no warmth, no sign that anyone actually lived there. It's beautiful, I said diplomatically. It's cold, he corrected. My ex-girlfriend picked out everything before we broke up. I kept meaning to change it, but I don't know where to start. I walked around the space, taking photos and notes. What do you actually like? What makes you feel comfortable? Honestly, your little apartment, it felt more like home in those photos than this place has ever felt to me. We spent 2 hours going through the house. He showed me his music room, which was the only space that felt personal. Guitars on stands, notebooks scattered on a desk, artwork from local artists covering the walls. This is you, I said. This energy, this creativity. We need to bring this feeling into the rest of the house. Can you do that? I looked around the sterile living room again, but this time I saw possibilities. Warm textures, personal artwork, furniture arranged for conversation instead of display. I can do that, but I have one condition. Name it. You let me document the whole process, before, during, and after, and when it's done, you share it with your followers. Youssef grinned. Deal? When can you start? Tomorrow. 2 weeks later, Angela and I were putting the finishing touches on Youssef's living room when he walked in with his phone already recording. Guys, I have to show you what Sadie did to my house, he said to his camera. This woman is a magician. The transformation was dramatic. We'd kept the good bones of the room, but added warmth with textured throws, personal artwork, and furniture arranged to actually encourage conversation. The space felt lived in, but elevated. The best part, Youssef continued, is that she did this on a budget that normal people could actually afford. No $1,000 throw pillows, no designer furniture, just incredible vision. He posted the tour that evening. By morning, it had 2.3 million views. My phone started buzzing at 6 a.m. and didn't stop. Instagram notifications, DMs, comments, new followers. Angela called me screaming, Sadie, you have 120,000 new followers. Your DMs are flooded with client requests. I sat in my tiny apartment, watching the numbers climb, and for the first time since I'd left home, I smiled without forcing it. My phone rang. Mum's contact photo filled the screen. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail was 3 minutes of my mother sobbing. Sadie, please, I know you're angry, but we need to talk. It's about Marley. She's gone, and she took money. The utilities got shut off yesterday, and there are papers from the bank. I don't know what to do. Please call me back. I played it twice, then deleted it. Angela looked up from her laptop where she was managing my overflowing inbox. Your mum? Crisis at home. Apparently Marley disappeared. Are you going to call her back? I picked up another client inquiry from a woman in Seattle who wanted her entire condo redesigned. Nope, but curiosity got the better of me 3 days later. I drove past the house on my way to a consultation, telling myself I was just taking a different route. The lawn was brown and overgrown. Paint was peeling from the front porch railings. A bright yellow notice was taped to the front door. I parked across the street and called Raylin, Marley's older sister. We'd been friendly in high school before she moved to Portland. Sadie, oh my God, I was wondering when someone would call you. What's going on with Marley? She's in the wind. Took off about 2 weeks ago with some guy she met online. Cleaned out your mum's checking account before she left. How much? 3 grand. Plus she'd been using your mum's credit cards for shopping sprees. Your poor mum had no idea until the bills started coming. I watched a neighbour walk by the house, shaking their head at the dead lawn. What about the pregnancy? Raylin was quiet for a long moment. Sadie, there was no pregnancy. What do you mean? I mean Marley bought a fake belly online and some pregnancy tests from eBay that always show positive. She's been pulling this scam for months. She did it to her ex-boyfriend's family in Oregon, then some distant relatives in Nevada. The yellow notice fluttered in the breeze. You're telling me she faked being pregnant to get my room? She faked being pregnant to get free housing, free food, and access to your mum's money. I tried to warn Helen, but Marley convinced her I was just jealous. I hung up and sat in my car, staring at the house where I'd grown up, the house I'd helped pay for, the house where my mother had chosen a stranger over her own daughter. My phone rang. Mom again. This time I answered. "Sadie, thank God, I've been trying to reach you for days." "I've been busy, working. Honey, I need your help. Marley left and she took some money. The mortgage payment bounced and the electric company shut us off. I don't know what to do." "Where's Marley now?" "I don't know. She just disappeared one night, left a note saying she was sorry but she had to go. I think that boyfriend of hers was pressuring her." "What boyfriend?" "Some guy she met online. She said he was going to help her get back on her feet, but I think he was just using her." I almost laughed. "Mum, did you ever verify that Marley was actually pregnant?" "What kind of question is that? Of course she was pregnant. I saw the test myself." "Did you see a doctor's note? Ultrasound pictures? Anything official?" "She said she was waiting to find a good doctor. Why are you asking me this?" I started the car. "I have to go." "Wait, Sadie, please. I know you're upset about the room situation, but I need you right now. The bank sent foreclosure papers. I could lose the house." "The house you kicked me out of?" "I didn't kick you out. I just thought—" "You thought I'd always be there to clean up your messes. You thought I'd never leave because where else would I go, right?" "That's not—" "Sadie, please. I'm your mother." "You're right. You are my mother, which makes what you did even worse." I hung up and drove to my consultation. That evening, Angela found me on my fire escape, looking out at the city lights. "Rough day?" "Marley wasn't pregnant. The whole thing was a scam." Angela sat down next to me. "Seriously? Fake belly, fake pregnancy tests, the whole 9 yards. She's apparently been doing this to different families for months." "And your mum fell for it?" "My mum chose to fall for it. There's a difference." Angela was quiet for a moment. "What are you going to do?" I thought about the foreclosure notice, about my mother's panicked voicemails, about the room that had been mine for 25 years given away to a con artist. I'm going to let her figure it out herself. Really? Really? She wanted me to grow up and move out. Well, congratulations. I grew up. My phone buzzed with another text from Mom. "The water got shut off today. Please come home." I deleted it without responding. "You know what the funny thing is?" I said to Angela. "I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done." That's probably scarier for her than anger would be. I looked back toward the direction of my childhood home, somewhere out there in the darkness. Good. I made Mum wait 5 days before I responded. When I finally did, it wasn't with a phone call or a tearful reunion. It was with an email sent from my new business account at exactly 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. Subject: Property Resolution Options. Helen, I understand you're facing financial difficulties with the family home. After reviewing the situation, I'm prepared to offer 2 solutions. Option 1, I purchase the property at current market value, $285,000, with a 30-day closing period. You receive enough to pay off the mortgage and have funds remaining for relocation. Option 2, you vacate the property within 14 days, allowing me to assume the mortgage payments I've been contributing to for the past 2 years. Please respond within 48 hours with your decision. Best regards, Sadie Ward, Interior Design Consultant. Angela read over my shoulder as I hit send. That's ice cold. That's business. My phone started ringing within 10 minutes. "Sadie, what is this email? I don't understand." "It's pretty straightforward, Mom. Pick an option." "You can't be serious. You want to buy my house." "It's not your house anymore. You're 3 months behind on payments. The bank owns it now." But I raised you in that house. It's our family home." "The family home you gave away to a stranger. The family home you kicked me out of." "I didn't kick you out." "You packed my belongings in boxes and told me it was time to grow up. What would you call that? I could hear her crying on the other end. Sadie, please, can't we just talk about this like normal people? We are talking about it. I sent you a business proposal. Respond like a normal person would. I don't have $285,000. Then choose option 2. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know, Mom. Where did you expect me to go when you gave away my room? The line went quiet except for her sniffling. This isn't you, Sadie. You're not this cold. You're right. The old me would have dropped everything and rushed home to fix your problems. The old me would have taken out loans I couldn't afford to save a house that wasn't even mine, but the old me was an idiot. I hung up. Angela was staring at me. Remind me never to get on your bad side. She made her choice. Now she gets to live with it. 2 days later, Angela burst into my apartment with her laptop. You need to see this. She pulled up a local news website. The headline read, Young designer's family drama goes viral after anonymous tip. What did you do? I may have reached out to a few journalists about your story. Anonymously, of course. Small town girl supports family for years, gets kicked out for pregnant cousin who turns out to be a scammer. It's perfect human interest. The article included quotes from neighbours about how they'd seen me mowing the lawn and bringing in groceries for years. Someone had even provided photos of the house's current deteriorated state versus how it looked when I lived there. Angela, this is brilliant. I know. Your Instagram gained another 50,000 followers since the story broke. Everyone's calling you the Phoenix designer because you rose from the ashes of family betrayal. My phone was buzzing non-stop. Interview requests, client inquiries, messages of support from strangers who'd been through similar family drama. The best part, Angela continued, is that 3 different people have come forward saying Marley tried to scam them too. She's basically internet famous now, but not in a good way. That afternoon, Mum called again. Sadie, there are reporters calling me. Someone told them about Marley and the pregnancy, and people are saying terrible things about me online. What kind of terrible things? That I'm a bad mother, that I chose a scammer over my own daughter. They're calling me selfish and manipulative. Huh? That's all you have to say? Huh? What do you want me to say, Mum? That they're wrong? Yes, I want you to tell them they're wrong. But they're not wrong. The silence stretched between us. I never meant for any of this to happen, she whispered. But it did happen, and now you get to deal with the consequences. Please, Sadie, I'm begging you, just come home and we can work this out. I am home. This is my home now. That tiny apartment, that's not a home. It's more of a home than that house ever was. At least here, nobody can kick me out on a whim. I made a mistake. You made a choice. There's a difference. I was about to hang up when she said something that made me freeze. Marley's back? What? She showed up this morning with some new boyfriend. Says she wants to make things right. She's asking about you. I looked at Angela, who was watching me with raised eyebrows. Tell her I said hello, I said, and hung up. Angela grinned. This is about to get interesting, isn't it? I smiled back. Oh, it's about to get very interesting. I showed up at the house on Saturday morning, wearing a tailored blazer and carrying a leather portfolio. My hair was professionally styled, my makeup flawless. I looked like success, and I wanted them to know it. Mum answered the door, looking like she hadn't slept in weeks. Her eyes went wide when she saw me. Sadie, you look different. I look successful. Can I come in? She stepped aside, and I walked into the living room where Marley sat on the couch next to a guy with neck tattoos and a backwards baseball cap. Marley's fake pregnancy belly was nowhere to be seen. Sadie! Marley jumped up with that same sweet smile. I'm so glad you're here. I owe you such a huge apology. Do you? Of course. I know taking your room was awkward, but I was in such a desperate place. The pregnancy hormones made me so emotional and— Cut the act, Marley. I know you were never pregnant. The smile faltered. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and showed her a screenshot of the news article. Raylin told me everything. The fake belly, the rigged pregnancy tests, the whole scam you've been running on different families. Marley's boyfriend looked at her. You said you lost the baby. I did lose the baby, Marley said quickly. It was early in the pregnancy, very traumatic. Marley, I kept my voice calm and professional. I have documentation of your online purchases, the fake pregnancy belly from Amazon, the positive pregnancy test from eBay, even the fake ultrasound photos you bought on Etsy. Mum sank into her chair. What is she talking about? I opened my portfolio and spread out printed screenshots across the coffee table. Purchase confirmations, shipping receipts, even reviews Marley had left for the fake pregnancy products. Your cousin has been running a pregnancy scam for months. She finds vulnerable families, convinces them she's pregnant and in crisis, then moves in and steals whatever she can before disappearing. Marley's face went red. That's not— You can't prove any of that. Actually, I can. I hired a private investigator after Raylin told me the truth. Want to see the report? The boyfriend stood up. Marley, what the hell? Don't listen to her, Jake. She's just jealous because I got her room. You got my room by lying to my mother about being pregnant. Then you stole $3,000 and disappeared in the middle of the night. Mum was staring at the documents spread across the table. Marley, is this true? Helen, you know me. Would I really do something like that? Yes, I said simply. You would. And you did. To my mother, to your ex-boyfriend's family in Oregon, to those relatives in Nevada. Should I keep going? Jake grabbed his jacket. I'm out. This is insane. Jake, wait! Marley followed him to the door. Let me explain. The front door slammed behind them. Through the window, I watched Jake peel out of the driveway while Marley stood on the porch yelling after him. Mum picked up one of the purchase receipts. A fake pregnancy belly, $49.99. Plus shipping. She really wasn't pregnant. No. Mum looked up at me with tears in her eyes. Sadie, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. You didn't want to have any idea. You wanted to believe her because it was easier than dealing with the truth. What truth? That you chose a stranger over your own daughter. That you threw away 25 years of me being there for you because someone showed up with a sob story. Marley came back inside, her face streaked with mascara. Sadie, please don't do this. I can pay your mum back. I just need some time. With what money? You're unemployed and your boyfriend just dumped you. I'll get a job. I'll make this right. I closed my portfolio and stood up. You're not making anything right. You're leaving. You can't kick me out. This isn't your house. I pulled out a folder of legal documents. Actually, it is now. I assumed the mortgage this morning. The bank was happy to work with someone who actually has income and credit. Mum's face went white. What? I told you I was buying the house. You didn't respond to my email, so I went with option 2. The bank transferred the mortgage to me in exchange for bringing the payments current. But where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore, Mom. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. Marley was frantically texting on her phone. This is illegal. You can't just steal someone's house. I'm not stealing anything. I'm reclaiming what I've been paying for. Check the bank records if you want. I've been making mortgage payments for 2 years. Helen, don't let her do this to us. Mum looked between us, then at the fake pregnancy documents still scattered on the table. Us. There is no us, Marley. You lied to me. You stole from me. You ruined everything. I was desperate. So was I, Mum said quietly. That's why I believed you. I headed for the door. Marley, you have 1 hour to get your things and leave. If you're still here after that, I'm calling the police. Sadie, wait. Mum followed me outside. Please, I know I messed up, but I'm still your mother. Can't we work something out?" I turned back to look at her standing on the porch of the house that was now mine. "You taught me something important, Mom. You taught me that blood doesn't make you family, actions do." "I love you." "No, you don't. You love what I did for you. There's a difference." I got in my car and drove away, leaving her standing there just like she'd left me, standing in that hallway with my life packed in boxes. The difference was, this time, I wasn't crying. 2 weeks later, I was standing in my childhood bedroom with a sledgehammer, about to knock down the wall between it and the guest room, when someone knocked on the front door. "Expecting anyone?" Angela asked, pulling her safety goggles up. "Nope." I opened the door to find a man in his 50s with greying hair and my exact same green eyes. He was holding a small wrapped box and looked like he'd been standing there working up courage for a while. "Sadie?" I knew who he was before he said another word. "Dad?" "Hi, sweetheart. I know this is unexpected." That's one word for it. I didn't invite him in. "What do you want, Earl?" "I heard about what happened with your mother and Marley. I wanted to make sure you were okay." "I'm fine. Better than fine, actually." He glanced past me at the construction chaos inside. "Looks like you're renovating." "I'm turning it into a design studio and workshop space for young artists, kids who need somewhere to create without being told their dreams aren't practical." Earl smiled, and I hated how much it looked like my own smile. "That sounds perfect for you." "How would you know what's perfect for me? You left when I was 8. "I know, and I owe you an explanation." "You don't owe me anything. It's been 17 years. I figured out how to live without you." "Can I come in, please, just for a few minutes?" Against my better judgment, I stepped aside. Angela waved awkwardly and went back to measuring wall studs. Earl looked around the living room, taking in the paint samples and design sketches I had taped to every surface. "Your mother always said you got your creativity from me." "Mum said a lot of things that weren't true. She told you I left because I didn't want the responsibility of a family." "Didn't you?" Earl sat down heavily on the couch. "I left because I was having panic attacks so severe I couldn't leave the bedroom for days at a time. I was seeing things that weren't there, hearing voices. Your mother said I was scaring you." I stopped pretending to organise my sketches. "What?" I was having a complete mental breakdown, and instead of helping me get treatment, Helen told me I needed to choose between getting help and being around you. She said she wouldn't let a crazy person raise her daughter. "That's not..." "She never said anything about you being sick." "Because she was ashamed. Mental illness wasn't something people talked about back then, especially not in small towns." Earl pulled out his phone and showed me a photo of a small apartment with paintings covering every wall. "I've been in therapy for 15 years. I take medication. I paint now. It helps with the anxiety. I wanted to contact you so many times, but Helen made me promise to stay away until you were 18. By then, I figured you hated me." "I did hate you." "I don't blame you." I sat down across from him. "Why are you here now?" "Because I've been following your story online, the articles, your Instagram, everything. I'm so proud of who you've become, and I'm so sorry about what Helen did to you." "You've been following me online?" "For years. I knew about your design work before it went viral. I knew about every job you took to help pay Helen's bills. I knew she was taking advantage of you, and I should have said something." "Why didn't you?" "Because I was a coward. I was afraid if I contacted you, Helen would tell you things about me that would make you hate me even more." Angela had stopped working and was clearly listening to every word. "What kind of things?" Earl was quiet for a long moment. "That I tried to hurt myself, that she found me in the garage with a rope. That's when she gave me the ultimatum: get help and stay away from you, or she'd make sure I never saw you again." The room went completely silent. She saved my life by forcing me to get treatment, but she also made me believe that loving you meant staying away from you. He handed me the wrapped box. This was your grandmother's, my mother's. Helen never told you about her because she died right after I left. She left this for you. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with small charms, a paintbrush, a tiny house, a heart. She was an artist too, painted murals in the church and the library. Everyone said you reminded them of her, even as a little kid. I turned the bracelet over in my hands. Why are you telling me this now? Because you deserve to know the truth, and because I wanted you to know that someone in your family has always been proud of you, even from a distance. Angela cleared her throat. I'm going to grab lunch. You two, keep talking. After she left, Earl and I sat in silence for a while. I don't know how to process this, I said finally. You don't have to process anything right now. I just wanted you to know that you weren't abandoned because you weren't good enough. You were protected by someone who loved you enough to sacrifice everything. Even if that's true, it doesn't change what happened. No, it doesn't. But maybe it changes what happens next. I looked around the house that was finally, truly mine. What happens next is I build something better. Earl smiled. I'd like to see that if you'll let me. Maybe, I said. We'll see. It wasn't forgiveness, but it wasn't hatred either. It was something new. The grand opening of Phoenix Design Studio was everything I'd dreamed it would be. Local news crews filmed the ribbon cutting, my Instagram followers watched via live stream, and the house that had once felt like a prison was now filled with young artists showing off their work. Sadie, Channel 7 wants an interview, Angela said, weaving through the crowd with her clipboard, after I talked to the scholarship recipients. I found them in what used to be my childhood bedroom, now transformed into a bright workshop space. 5 teenagers from low-income families, each awarded a full year of free design mentorship and materials. This is incredible, said Maya, a 17-year-old whose portfolio had blown me away. I can't believe this is really happening. Believe it, I said, and remember, when people tell you art isn't practical, you show them this room. Youssef appeared beside me, phone in hand. Mind if I get this on camera? My followers are obsessed with your story. Only if you mention the scholarship program. Already planning on it. As Youssef filmed, I noticed Earl standing quietly in the corner, taking pictures of the artwork on the walls. He'd been helping with construction for weeks, never asking for anything in return, just showing up with coffee and tools. The paintings are beautiful, I told him. They remind me of your grandmother's work. She would have loved this. A commotion near the front door caught my attention. Through the crowd, I saw a familiar figure pushing through the guests. Mom? She looked older, thinner, like the stress of the past months had aged her years. She was wearing a dress I recognized from my high school graduation, probably the nicest thing she owned now. Sadie, can we talk? The room seemed to quiet around us. Angela stepped closer, ready to intervene if needed. We're in the middle of an event, Mom. I know, I wanted to see what you'd done with the place. She looked around the transformed space with wide eyes. The walls I'd knocked down had opened everything up. Natural light flooded in through new windows. The kitchen had been converted into a supply station for art materials. It's beautiful, she said quietly. It's everything you always said it could be. What do you want? I want to apologize, really apologize, not just say I'm sorry because I need something. Okay, I was wrong about everything, about Marley, about your dreams, about treating you like you owed me your life because I raised you. A reporter with a camera was edging closer, clearly hoping to catch our conversation. Not here, I said, leading Mom toward the back patio. Outside, away from the crowd, she broke down crying. I lost the apartment. I've been staying with my sister in Phoenix. She makes me pay rent and do chores like I'm a teenager again. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Really? I considered the question. Yeah, actually, I am. I don't want you to be homeless or miserable. I just don't want to be responsible for fixing it. I know. I understand that now. She wiped her eyes. I saw the news coverage about the studio, about the scholarships. You're helping kids who remind you of yourself. I'm helping kids whose families believe in them. There's a difference. Mum flinched but nodded. I failed you. I know that now. You didn't fail me, Mom. You just chose wrong over and over again. Can I ask you something? What? If I had supported your dreams from the beginning, would things have been different? I looked back through the windows at the bustling studio, at the teenagers excitedly planning their first projects, at Angela coordinating interviews with reporters. Probably. But then I wouldn't have learned that I could do it without anyone's permission. I'm proud of you. I know you are, now. We stood in silence for a moment, watching Earl help one of the scholarship kids hang a painting. Is that your father? Yeah. He looks good. He is good. He got the help he needed. Mum's face crumpled. I was so scared back then, of his illness, of what people would think, of not being able to handle everything alone. So you made sure you'd have to handle everything alone. I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, you did. Angela appeared in the doorway. Sadie, the mayor wants to present you with a key to the city. I'll be right there. I turned back to Mum. I have to go. I know, this is your day. She started to leave, then turned back. For what it's worth, I always knew you were special. I was just too scared to let you fly. I flew anyway. I can see that. I watched her walk away, and for the first time in months, I felt something other than anger toward her. Not forgiveness exactly, but understanding. Inside, the mayor was making a speech about young entrepreneurs and community investment. The cameras rolled as she handed me an oversized key. Any words for our viewers? The reporter asked. I looked around the room at everything I'd built from nothing, at the kids who would get chances I'd never had, at the friends who'd believed in me when my own family wouldn't. They thought I ran away, I said into the camera. I wasn't running. I was reclaiming everything they thought I didn't deserve. The crowd erupted in applause, and I smiled, knowing that somewhere out there, people who'd been dismissed and underestimated were watching and thinking maybe they could reclaim their dreams too. The revenge was complete, but it wasn't the kind that destroyed. It was the kind that built something beautiful from the ashes.